We are certainly going live, doing our thing here at Red State Talk Radio. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this up. Okay. Bring this up and go. Line. Hello, hello, hello. Good. Good. Check, 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 check. Got it. Okay. We're getting ready to wait for the show to start here shortly, and we will be ready to rock and roll. Okay, here we go. Ready, 2, 3.
Oh, uno, dos, 3, 4. You see that black boy over there running scared? His old man in a bottle. He done quit his 9 to 5. He drank full time and now he's living in a bottle. See that black boy over
Welcome,
there
folks.
running
Welcome, welcome,
scared.
welcome to the Reality Check. The Reality Check with Charles Butler. It's Friday, Freedom Friday, and we are broadcasting live here at Red State Talk Radio. You know, President had a hell of a turnout last night in Texas, and I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to tune in, but I watched it, and I tell you, the kind of crowds that Donald Trump is getting, I haven't seen those kind of crowds anywhere at any time before. And I've been around politics a very long time, and I can tell you, you just don't see those kind of crowds, people turning out for those kind of crowds, those kind of events on a Thursday night. On a Thursday night. They said he had 20,000 people inside the arena because that's all he could hold. Now, there are 30,000 outside. Now, tell me that Donald Trump is not going to win this thing in a landslide. I've been watching CNN, MSNBC, and they keep talking about the quid pro quo that Mulvaney was supposed to have admitted yesterday. And he's supposed to clarify it today. I don't know if he did, if he didn't. All I can say is that I know he's misspoke. There's no question about that. But was it quid pro quo? Well, let's listen. Let's come up with our own analysis. We're intelligent people. We don't need the folks at CNN or MSNBC or Fox News telling us what is the truth. Let's listen to it for ourselves in the context it was given in. So we'll play it and, make that determination.
Pay out the money, it would be illegal. Okay, it would be unlawful.
Now, this is the acting chief of staff, Mulvaney. So just so you know, I hope I made that clear going into this.
Pay out the money, it would be illegal. Okay, it would be unlawful. That is one of those things that has that little shred of truth in it that makes it look a lot worse than it really is. We were concerned about over at OMB about an impoundment. And I know I just put half you folks to bed, but there's the Budget Control Act. Budget Control Impoundment Act of 1974 says if Congress appropriates money, you have to spend it. Okay, at least that's how it's interpreted by some folks. And we knew that money either had to go out the door by the end of September, or we had to have a really, really good reason not to do it. And that was the legality of the issue.
But to be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is.
No, it's not a quid pro quo. Not a quid pro quo. So let's go back. Let's listen one more time.
Pay out the money, it would be illegal. Okay, it would be unlawful. That is one of those things that has that little shred of truth in it that makes it look a lot worse than it really is. We were concerned about over at OMB about an impoundment. And I know I just put half you folks to bed, but there's the Budget Control Act. Budget Control Impoundment Act of 1974 says if Congress appropriates money, you have to spend it. Okay, at least that's how it's interpreted by some folks. And we knew that money either had to go out the door by the end of September, or we had to have a really, really good reason not to do it. And that was the legality of the issue.
But to be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server.
Okay, see, he just interjected something that wasn't there. And this is the game that liberals play. This is the game that pundits play. This is the game that liberal journalists play. Who said anything about if an investigation is not launched, you will not get the money? That was never said. Never. But we're going to listen to this guy challenge Mulvaney, try to hem him up. And they will get you off balance, man. They will get you off guard every doggone time. That's why you have to focus on the truth, stick with the truth, and not let them lie on you. And that's what the president's good at. He's good at countering their lies. Here we go.
Happened as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. We were holding up money at the same time for the Northern Triangle countries. We were holding up aid at the Northern Triangle countries so that they would change their policies on immigration. By the way, and this speaks to an important point, because I heard this yesterday, and I can never remember the gentleman who testified. Was McKinney, the guy, is that his name? I don't know him. He testified yesterday. And if you believe the news reports, okay, because we've not seen any transcripts of this. The only transcript I've seen was Sondland's testimony this morning. If you read the news reports and you believe them, what did McKinney say yesterday? Well, McKinney said yesterday that he was really upset with the political influence in foreign policy. That was one of the reasons he was so upset about this. And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy. I'm talking to Mr. Carl. That is going to happen. Elections have consequences, and foreign policy is going to change from the Obama administration to the Trump administration. And what you're seeing now, I believe, is a group of mostly career bureaucrats who are saying, you know what, I don't like President Trump's politics, so I'm going to participate in this witch hunt that they're undertaking on the Hill. Elections do have consequences, and they should, and your foreign policy is going to change. Obama did it in one way, we're doing it a different way, and there's no problem with that.
See, that is the beauty of America. That is the beauty of what Trump is doing. Trump's not playing games. Let's be clear. There are a lot of things that the president has done we're not even talking about. And, maybe, I'll talk about them next week, but there are a number of things that President Trump has done that he's not talking about. So let's look at this particular situation. Barack Obama said clearly that elections have consequences. He said that to John McCain. He was very snippet. He was very condescending. He was very snooty. He was very, I'm in control and I'm the president. Hey, John, elections have consequences. Yeah, well, they do. So it's the beauty of our system of government. What goes around comes around. People who are in the majority today are in the minority tomorrow. People who are in the minority today are in the majority tomorrow. It's a cycle. It's circular. So it behooves these folks to work together, but they don't want to do that. Like you have a guy like John Kasich. I can't stand John Kasich. I wouldn't vote for Kasich if he was the only person on the ballot. Kasich says that Trump deserves to be impeached. He can't beat Trump. He thinks that actually someone will vote for him for president because he's a decent guy. He was a limp-legged, maybe. I'm not even going to insult limp-legged people like that. John Kasich was a weak man as a congressman. He was a weak governor. And now he wants to run for president. He is milquetoast weak. I wouldn't vote for him if he was the only guy on the ballot. And he's saying Trump deserves to be impeached. He's on CNN right now rallying. Trump deserves to be impeached. A former presidential candidate who couldn't muster anything, any following. But he thought he'd hang in the race long enough that they'd go to the convention and people would see that he was the better candidate. He was more decent. He was more presidential than Donald Trump, not understanding that we did not want another milquetoast, small-minded, girly man, politically correct, pop culture president in that office. I'll never forget when Obama colored the White House. You know what I'm going to say? In the LGBT colors. I was so disgusting to me. It was totally disgusting. It didn't represent my government, didn't represent what I wanted. No one asked me about it. And when they did ask us about it, guess what? We voted that marriage was between a man and a woman. We voted that. It's called the Defense of Marriage Act. The Supreme Court overturned it. Who elected the damn Supreme Court? Why didn't the Supreme Court interpret the law of the land? Morality. Do you remember that? Morality. Anyway, so what Mulvaney is sharing or trying to get across to this group of reporters is that we hold back money all the time. And we negotiate with people because we don't want them taking our money. It's like a teenager. You know, you're a teenager. You say, look, I'm going to give you $20 to put gas in the car. I'm going to give you another $20 to take your girlfriend to the movie. That's going to get you in $10 a ticket. I'm going to give you another $20 to buy some popcorn and some drinks. So that's $60. Now you have to have your date back to her father's house at her mother and father's house at 12 o'clock. And you need to be here no later than 12:30. And I want some gas in the car. I want you to gas up the car. Now I'm going to give you this $60, and these are the things that I want you to do. Do you agree to do that? Well, no, Dad, I don't want to stop for gas. I don't really know. It's really too cold. Well, I'm going to keep the money. You can get another way to go to the movie if you can't, meet the terms of our agreement. And you work it out. You negotiate. Okay, well, Dad, okay, I'll stop. I'll get the gas and, I'll be home. Can I stay out till 1? I want to stop by Jim's house and play video games for half an hour or so. No, you need to be in the house at 12:30. In fact, it's past your curfew. You should be in the house at 12. I'm a little nervous about you being out after 12. Okay, so you work it out. That's all that governments do. Our government has always done that. Trump has not done anything new or anything different. As you heard Mulvaney point out, the Act of 1974 clearly has been interpreted by people who receive government funds that they need to spend those funds or they go away. So when September 30th shows up and you haven't spent that money, the overtime, I remember, man, I worked in DOD. Woo, man, overtime. It was brutal. But they want to say, and nowhere in this classified or unclassified document, this is the conversation between Zelensky and Trump. Does Trump say that, I'm going to hold up the money unless you launch an investigation? And if you don't launch an investigation, you're negative. There's nothing in here that refers to anything of the sort. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I've looked. And I just don't see it. He asked him to check into CrowdStrike, but that's a server. He didn't ask him to check into Biden. And that comes later after. That comes way down in the conversation that Biden's name comes up. In fact, Biden's name doesn't come up until, when does Biden's name come up here? I think it's on the third page. Second and third page. Second page. See, Giuliani, highly respected. Joe Biden, yes, it's on the fourth page, actually, that Biden's name actually comes up. And he talks about the ambassador and how bad she is. And she is bad. She was truly, as far as I'm concerned, horrible. And when Trump is talking about Biden, by the way, he doesn't mention Joe. He said the other thing. And he's talking about the ambassador. One, he's talking about the ambassador. I'm gonna have the general counsel, the general attorney, talk to you about CrowdStrike, and you and Rudy can talk to your people about that. And he said because Rudy knows what's happening. Then he goes on to say, "This is the president, President Trump. If you could speak to him, that would be great." Meaning, speak to Rudy. They said the former ambassador. Trump says the former ambassador from the United States, the woman, was bad. That's Yankovic, was bad. She was bad. He said she was bad news, and she truly was. She was an Obamaite. Let's give people everything and demand nothing. We'll give them the world. Oh, they need this. Oh, and we need to take their refugees, and we need to educate their children, and we need, please. All the time they're closing schools here in Chicago. Children are being killed in Chicago. Where do they go to? Refugee. Kids on the west and south side of Chicago, and moms and dads on the west side of Chicago could certainly claim asylum, could certainly claim that they need to seek asylum because of the drugs and the gangs and the killing. Why can't they? That's what people are coming here from Guatemala and Honduras and Venezuela and Colombia. Oh, it's the gangs, it's the drugs. We have the same thing here. The difference is when they come here, they don't go to those neighborhoods where we have all the killing and the drugs and the gangs. We resettle them into nice neighborhoods. How come we can't do that with our own citizens? Da, da, da. How come we can't do that with our own citizens? How come the Zayanev brothers, the brothers who blew up the people at the Boston Marathon, nice home, suburbs, Mercedes-Benz in the driveway. Daddy was a gangster. Daddy was a gangster, by the way. And he ran over here because the gang was trying to kill him. That's why he came over to America. True story. I wish it weren't, but it's true. True story. And so getting back to this report and to Mulvaney, nowhere does it come up in this document, in this particular speech, in this particular conversation, that Trump says you will not get the money if you don't open an investigation. We will not give you military. It didn't come up. It's not here. But you'll hear people claim that it is. Like you heard that guy. Well, that's quid pro quo, isn't it? It's quid pro quo. A damn reporter. What does he know? He's not a lawyer. Trump goes on to say the woman was bad news, and the people she was dealing with in the Ukraine were bad news. So I just want to let you know that. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the attorney general would be great. Biden went around bragging that he'd stopped the prosecution. So if you can look into it, it sounds horrible to me. Okay. He still didn't say, if you don't look into Biden, if you don't look into Joe Biden's son, if you don't look into the corruption surrounding this situation, you're not going to get the money. He didn't say it. Didn't say it. So I'm going to go back over here. We're going to go back over here and we're going to play Anderson Cooper and his interpretation of what was said last night. Now listen closely because it's 180 out. Listen.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that it was on to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about.
Okay, this is a reporter in Mulvaney. Anderson Cooper's going to chip in at the end. Oh, here we go.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that it was on to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
2016 refers to that conspiracy theory the president's latched onto, which blames Ukraine and the Democrats, not Russia, for interference in the last presidential election. Now, what Mulvaney just spelled out there is the exchange of something for something, or the now familiar Latin equivalent.
The Latin equivalent
What you just
means
described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happened as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy.
wow. You can't make this stuff up. They keep trying to put words in people's mouth, and they will do it. They won't try. They will put words in your mouth. And if you're not careful, they will repeat that you've said some horrible things. Like if you Google me on, just Google Charles Butler, what is it? Fatherless children. And they say, like, I said that women were having babies on a booty call. And I explained why. Because there was no relationship when these women were conceiving babies with these men. And they were having sex with multiple men. Simple. And then they have a baby and then they get a little government assistance and, they go down their little poverty trail. Got it. I'm just saying. But they put this, they put words in my mouth like I was a heartless, callous individual. But the bottom line is what I said was the truth, regardless. These babies are had in the Black community on a booty call. There's no relationship, no love. It's about sex. Okay. I've been wanting all week to do something on LeBron. Because LeBron is not one of my favorite guys. LeBron is the biggest thing on the court. And he's always making these ass ugly faces. God, he was an ugly baby, I'm sure. God. And there are not many ugly babies, but I'm sure this was an ugly baby. Because he is not a good looking guy now, if you ask me, especially when he makes those faces. So LeBron says that the general manager was not educated. He didn't understand the ramifications of his actions. Where do you get that big word? Ramification. I know that Laura Ingram is having a field day with, where do you get that big word? Shut up and dribble, I remember when she said that. Oh, man. You can't make that stuff up. But Morey, Daryl Morey, I'm pretty sure that Daryl Morey, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a graduate of Morey. He's a graduate of, education. He's a graduate of some Ivy League school. Yeah, he's a graduate of MIT, not an Ivy League school, but he's a graduate of MIT and Northwestern. Yeah, he got his undergrad degree at Northwestern. He got his graduate degree at MIT. LeBron couldn't buy his way into MIT. I'm just laughing because it's just amazing to me that he would even say something like that. Okay? It's amazing. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. Wow. Yep. So Maury went to Sloan, and LeBron went to some high school in, dang, it wasn't even Cleveland. It was like Akron. He went to a high school in Akron, and then to the NBA. And that makes him educated because he's making a little money. Well, it doesn't make him educated. And LeBron should have done his homework. Should do his homework. He's taking a lot of heat, and he should, because I think he talks way too much, way too often. And we're going to play LeBron's comments right now.
I just think that, when you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about.
Did he say if you're misinformed and not educated about something? What's the something? The something is people in Hong Kong are protesting China's overreach. They're protesting China being able to extradite people from Hong Kong to China to be put on trial. They're protesting freedom. They're protesting freedom of speech. Okay, let's roll with it, LeBron. That's the something.
The tweet itself, you never know the ramifications that can happen. We all seen what that did. Not only did for our league, but for all of us in America, for people in China as well. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm not only for yourself, but for the majority of people.
Wow. I wonder if LeBron thought about that. The harm that he would do to the NBA, the harm that he would do to his fellow NBA players, not being educated, of course. When you're not educated, these things happen. Well, China asked the NBA to fire Daryl Morey, by the way, and they said, go to hell. Yes, American men are finally starting to get some backbone. I can't believe it. Wow. So, generally, well, we want you to fire him or we're going to just shut down the NBA in China. And the NBA said, okay, go ahead. Let's see how that works out for you. Because everybody loves the NBA. They've had a taste of the NBA. They've had a taste of the real thing. They've had a taste of the LeBron James. They've had a taste of the Kyrie Irvings. They've had a taste of the Dwayne Wades and all those folks. So they're they know what they want. They know what they like. Now, in an interview yesterday in New York, the NBA chairman, Adam Silver, said the Chinese government officials requested that Morey, general manager of the Houston Rockets, be dismissed for his now deleted tweet sent on the eve of the league's promotional events in China. We said there's no chance that's happening. Yes, Adam, I love it. Stand up, Adam. Grab those gonads. Yeah. There's no chance we'll even discipline him. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesman on Friday said the government never posed this requirement. Yeah, they did, I'm sure. But the NBA China spat has drawn the attention to the extent to which China's domestic censorship regime is increasingly influencing speech beyond its borders. Companies for years have apologized to China, mostly for reasons such as how they represent Taiwan on their websites or garments, and have been penalized by Chinese consumers. Now, the protests in Hong Kong, which have been continuing since June, offered more opportunities for corporations to, run into trouble with China's censorship regime and censorship cops. We're just not going to take it. That's all. We're not taking it. We're not taking it. Not taking it at all. LeBron James said the man needs to be more educated. LeBron, where'd you get a piece of paper? Where are your letters, LeBron? Amazing, man. These athletes take themselves way too serious. And these aren't the athletes like Jim Brown or Fred Williamson or Bill Russell. When these guys make statements and take positions like Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matters got totally co-opted. Black Lives Matters got co-opted with the money, that Soros money, and they got co-opted from a real organization with a real purpose, with a real mission statement, to being bamboozled and having no respect. Serious, man. Seriously. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. And so even in the Wall Street Journal, they're talking about this tweet. And all the guy said was, something about free Hong Kong, or freedom to Hong Kong, or something like that. So, they just know that it's not going to work. The Chinese influence, the Chinese making us back down, it's not happening. And why? The only reason the NBA is standing up to China is because of Donald J. Trump. If it weren't for Donald Trump in the Oval Office, I can tell you, these people would be running scared. Oh my God, China's taking over. Oh God, China's coming. What did the Obama administration say? We're just managing the transition of America to the number 2 superpower, and China will be the number 1 superpower. Trump came and said, not on my watch. 2025, you need to quit talking about 2025, or we will stop doing business with you altogether. So we're still going to stop doing business with them. Trump's just taking a more subtle approach and kicking that butt. I love it. I love it. Like I said, there are a lot of things that the presidents are doing. The president is doing. And we don't talk about it. We're not, putting it out there. But the president has a plan, and he sees China's plan. He knows what they plan for 2025. And they would have gotten it too if he hadn't been president. Amazing. Amazing. Let's see. So, Maury, I tell you, I'm just glad that we stood up, and they stood up for General Manager Maury. And the NBA stood by his side and said, hey, we're not even going to discipline him, fire him. We're not even going to discipline him. Are you kidding me? Not going to happen. He was just said, stand with Hong Kong, stand with Maury, stand with Hong Kong. That's what he said. Yeah. So this bickering is going back and forth from Hong Kong to the NBA here in the U.S. and back and forth. Hey, China, get real, baby. Hey, democracy is here, and I hope they overthrow. Well, see, they can't overthrow the communist government. It is just too much. That's who they are. So I'm going to let's see. Did I finish listening to LeBron? No, I didn't. Let's finish listening to LeBron make these asinine statements.
When you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about, the tweet itself, you never know the ramifications that can happen. We all seen what that did. Not only did for our league, but for all of us in America, for people in China as well. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm, not only for yourself, but for the majority of people.
Wow, LeBron, you're concerned about the majority of people, or are you concerned about that shoe deal? I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be buying any shoes that are made in China. Period. Anderson Cooper is saying that the testimony or the press conference by Mark Mulvaney yesterday just eclipses all of the impeachment developments altogether. Man, they're trying to take this and run with it, but it's not going anywhere. People aren't paying any attention, and they surely don't care. Thank God. Thank God. General Mattis, man, I tell you, I've liked old Mad Dog Mattis. He's always been a real general. I can't, say anything negative about General Mattis, except that, except that he wants things to go the same old way. He wants to spend money. He wants to, have the military engaged in fighting because that's what the military does. Remember, General LeMay, who was Joint Chief of Staff for Kennedy, he wanted to invade the Bay of Pigs with the U.S. Marines. He wanted to send the Air Force in. Do you know what would have happened if we'd done that? We don't know because it didn't happen, but maybe Khrushchev would have launched his ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Who knows? Maybe the missiles on Cuba would have been launched. We don't know. But that's what the generals want. LeMay was chewing on a cigar. Never forget seeing these documentaries. LeMay sitting there chomping on a cigar saying, Mr. President, we got to go. We got to go, Mr. President. We got to go now. We got to go now. We got to help those people. We got to help those people at the Bay of Pigs. Overthrow Castro. We got to do it. And the president was like, I mean, you got to check this stuff out. This stuff is out there. These documentaries are out there. And the president's sitting there cool, calm, and collected. And he's looking at LeMay, who's, just ready to go drop an atom bomb on Cuba, and he's going, Jesus Christ. So these are his advisors. So now you have just the opposite, because generals and admirals today are playing politics. See, they're playing politics. They don't want to be perceived as warmongers. They want to be perceived more as policemen. So when they get out, they're not killers. What General LeMay said, and I'll say this again, General LeMay, who led the bombing in Europe and the bombing in Japan, which killed hundreds of thousands of civilians, said, if we lose this war, I will be tried and hanged as a war criminal. True story. I mean, look it up. General LeMay, he said that. And it's true. He probably would have. But we won. So he's a hero. Of course, I'm sorry all those civilians got killed, but that's war. That's why the war ended in 4 years versus the 19 that we've been fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq. I'm just saying. I hope you're following me. I hope you're following with me. Hey, by the way, we opened up the phone line. So
I do stand before you, as was noted here, really had achieved greatness. I mean, I'm not just an overrated general. I am the greatest, the world's most overrated. And this is in no small part.
It's General Mattis. That's General Mattis at this fundraiser last night. Oh, he's too funny. Let's listen to the rest of this.
I will tell you, I owe New York. I owe New York for this, because Senator Schumer, have I thanked you for bringing my name up in a rather contentious meeting in Washington where this grew out of. So I would just tell you, too, that I'm honored to be considered that by Donald Trump, because he also called Meryl Streep an overrated actress. So I guess I'm the Meryl Streep of generals. And frankly, that sounds pretty good to me. And you do have to admit that between me and Merrill, at least we've had some victories. And some of you were kind during the reception and asked me, if this bothered me to have been rated this way based on what Donald Trump said. I said, of course not. I'd earned my spurs on the battlefield, Martin, as you pointed out, and Donald Trump earned his spurs in a letter from the doctor. So.
I can't. I have to laugh at that. That is too funny. Too funny. Too funny. But
La Honda HR-V está hecha para mí, porque todos los días le puedo echar y hasta echarme en reversa con confianza. Con razón le llamaron HR-V.
La Honda HR-V, versátil y con el espacio para echar lo que quieras.
By the way, there was a report that we worried that the money wouldn't, if we didn't pay out the money, it would be illegal. Okay, it would be unlawful. That is one of those things that has that little shred of truth in it that makes it look a lot worse than it really is.
it is, and it does, but that's the way it is. Little truth. Trump's empathy this week over the Kurds, the hurricane survivors, and parents of a teen killed. People, wanted to criticize the president. As I said earlier, I said last week, and in fact, last Friday, long before the White House was explaining that the Kurds have been at war for centuries with the Turks and Syrians, and that these things happen. These wars happen. They're going to continue to happen. And to me, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So people need to understand that, we don't need to be keeping our word to have American troops overseas fighting other folks' battles. What I could never really understand, and I'm still angry about it, is the fact that we were allowing refugees from Syria and Afghanistan and Iraq to come into this country who were between the ages of 18 and 35. They should have been in their own damn country, fighting their own damn battles with their own damn hands and hearts and minds and souls, not letting Americans do it for them. They should have been denied access to this country. Did I say just send over the women and children? Yeah, basically. But, hey, that's the way it is. 2019, October 18th. And we're just rolling. We're just rolling with it. The Biden swap. Let's see here. I was looking at, not going to do that. But it was really interesting. There's a lady named Liz Novak. She's having a video that's gone viral. I mean, this thing is really taken off. And she talks about how she closed her business in San Francisco because she was robbed. And she moved her business out of San Francisco into a suburb because she just couldn't take it anymore. She couldn't take all the filth and the public officials not doing their job. Now, listen to what she says happened to her. I think it's important. So we get a different perspective other than a journalist. We get a person who lived there. This is
because of the legislation getting worse. So they can't arrest people for the drugs. If they don't steal more than $900 worth of property, they can't arrest them. And a lot of people want to say it's a housing crisis, but it's definitely a drug crisis. It's a drug problem.
So how would you like your state to deal with this?
Well, I'd love to hear that, these people need help. They need, let's start at the, I'm not saying the bottom as the people are in the bottom, because these are the people that, Jesus sat with, the homeless, the drug addicted, these people. We need to start with that problem and it'll affect everybody else positively. They need places to go. They need detox. They need to be reprimanded. Sometimes that helps. Wow.
They need to be reprimanded. Did she say that? Yeah, she's right. They do. They need to be locked up. They need to be responsible. They need to be made personally responsible. That's what I say. Let's follow up with Liz because I think it's important.
I think that, I think he's a little bit more concerned with trolling the president on the internet than dealing with the problems in his state.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see how things turn out. Right now, about 25% of the nation's homeless population is in California, according to a survey that was done at the end of January 2018.
Wow. Well, in that survey, I didn't record it, but they talked about 25% of the homeless folks were in California. Yeah, so it's a magnet. It's not a good place to be if you ask me. But hey, who's asking me? I'm just a country boy from Pontiac, Michigan. What do I know? You've heard we have a strike here, teacher strike. It's not getting any better from last I heard, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm just keeping an eye on it. It's been disrupting traffic, things like that. And there's nothing you can do about that. But I don't think they're going to see any major shift or changes until next week. Everybody's trying to fill the other person's out now. And, it's just, like I said, I read the paper this morning on it, and I think it was interesting. I don't know. It's a little sad because Chicago will have the highest paid teachers. We're the highest paid teachers in the country, given their salary and their benefits. Highest paid teachers in the country. Okay? Yeah. And we have some of the lowest student test scores in the country. The question is, how do you correlate the two? How do you justify paying teachers who are not teaching more money than anyone else in the country? Well, this is how they justify it per Karen Lewis, who was the Chicago Teachers Union president when the last time they went out on strike. So I asked Karen, how do you justify a salary increase this large when your students have some of the lowest test scores in the country? She said, well, Charles, you have to understand something. I said, what's that, Karen? She said, well, first we have to be parents to these children when they come to school. I said, you have to be parents? Yes. Because they leave conditions that are so horrible, we have to take the time to settle the children down, get them oriented to school. Then we have to be psychologists, sociologists, surrogate mother. We feed the children breakfast. Then we go to class. So we're talking, 8:30, 9 o'clock now, right? Then we have to break for lunch. So lunch starts about 11:15. Wow, how about that? And we feed them lunch for free. And then they come back and they get dinner, or they get something to take home in a backpack. So if we go on strike, the children will be most affected because they won't have anything to eat. And I say, God dang. What are the mothers doing with their link cards? That's how you get welfare benefits, link card. What are they doing with their link cards? Oh, well, they're selling them. I swear to God. Everybody knows what's going on, but everybody's part of the problem. They refuse to make these people accountable for having children. They refuse to they'd rather say, oh, well, we have absentee fatherhood. That's the reason that Black families are non-existent, because we don't have fathers in the home. Well, you don't have fathers in the home because fathers don't want to be in the home with these women that they were screwing. Not women they were in love with, not women they had a relationship with, but women they were just screwing. a booty call. Yeah. So here we are. The kids, the schools are open so that the kids can eat. Believe it or not. True story. Look it up. Read it. Read about it. It's there. It may not be kind of packaged that way, but that's the essence of it. The school doors are open so that the kids can eat. Wow. Wow. So on day 1001, Donald Trump's been in office 1,001 days. And you know, I say this all the time, so I'm going to say it per his quote, okay? Because I don't think being president is a good job at all, okay? So the president, he says this today. It's much easier being presidential. It's easy. He told a stadium full of more than 20,000 boisterous supporters in MAGA hats and T-shirts cheering his every word Thursday night. Okay. He said, all you have to do is act like a stiff. I love this guy. He buttoned his suit coat, pursed his lips, squared his shoulders, dropped his arms rigidly at his sides. Ladies and gentlemen of Texas. Then he droned into a sleep-inducing staccato monotone, the way he imagined most of the other 44 presidents had done. It is a great honor to be with you this evening. The crowd loved it, roaring with laughter, transforming back into the unpresidential president America has come to know. Mr. Trump added, everybody would be out here so fast, you wouldn't come in the first place. Being presidential, he was saying, is so boring. Who wants that? I'm sorry, man. I'm laughing. You have to enjoy this. I mean, this is great. This is what I would do. I swear to God. It was good. But the president said, being presidential is boring. Ask John McCain. He became presidential. He got his butt whipped by Obama. Obama was being Obama. He was, slipping and sliding, dipping and dapping, glad-handed, high-fiving, jipping and jiving. I'm Barack Obama, and John McCain was I'm John McCain and I approve of this message. I am John McCain and I think that, and Barack was, hey, if you want free health care, if you want to have health care for everybody, if you want us to take care of you, let me know. I'll get out there. I'll get it done for you because I'm the man. I'm the man. I know what you want. I know what you need. I'm the man. And then you contrast that to John McCain, who's going, well, I will work with Congress and I will pass a bill that will adequately address the issue of healthcare some way. And we don't have a bad system now. But anyway, just over dramatizing. But what did Adam Schiff call that? He called it a parody, didn't he? This election cycle, this whole thing with Trump will go down in history as one of the greatest times to be around, one of the greatest times to be alive. I'm not lying to you. I love it. I love hanging out. I love being in this space because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, the acting chief of staff, Mulvaney, is trying to quell that whole quid pro quo thing. They said he admitted quid pro quo. He didn't. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I can tell you, the Donald is ready for a fight. He's ready to go to the mat at any time, any place. Let's lace him up. Let's get on the mat and let's do it. Bone spurs and all. Okay? Yeah, I tell you, I got up this morning, went for a short workout, short ride. I am so tired this afternoon. In fact, when I get off this air in a minute and 20 seconds, I'm going to lay down and take a nap. I'm exhausted, and you guys exhausted me. Let's say, did we have anyone call in today? No, we didn't. We didn't have anybody call in, which is good. Oh, no, they hung up. Okay, had several people call in. They hung up. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't see you. But look, again, hang in there, and I hope we imparted some things for you to think about this weekend, because all they're going to be talking about is how it's a quid pro quo, open and shut case with the president. The president committed quid pro quo, and that's not true. He did not commit quid pro quo. Have a good one, and we'll be back on Monday. Take care.
Next level, 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 level.